Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Today we are talking about the breakdown of the family. All right, and today also you'll hear noise in my studio out here. It's kind of windy today, and we're actually in the process of painting the outside of the studio. So there's plastic, drop cloths around there, which are being blown around all over to make it sound really weird in here. So you'll hear that. Also today, it's another parental advisory. Use your discretion. If you have little children, it's probably not the best time for them to listen to this episode, because we're going to be getting into various sexual topics today, because that is where the breakdown of the family starts, or it's one of the ways it starts, is by sexual relations that are not ordained by God. Okay? And let me start out by saying, sex is designed to be within a marriage between a man and a woman, okay? And that's it. If you follow that, all the stuff I'm going to read today is you should fall right into line, okay? And but you're going to see when we start twisting the sexual relationship to brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and all kinds of stuff like that, and we start to distort the sexual relationship, that's when things really fall apart, and you have the breakdown of the family. So the stuff that I'm going to be reading, it starts with this, and today we've allowed a lot of this stuff to happen, and so there's a lot of confusion as to like, what is a family nowadays, okay? Because we've allowed some of the stuff to happen. And let me tell you, you allow some of this stuff to happen, pretty much you're seeing some stuff today that I'm going to be reading, and you're going to go, oh, gross, that's disgusting. We would never allow that. The day is coming when you will allow it, because we've allowed this other stuff, and eventually the nation will allow everything here, okay? And because again, it's to please ourselves and to please our sinful nature, and not to please God. So let's read here. This is taken from Leviticus chapter 20, verses 7 through 24. Again, it's a little bit longer today, but I wanted to deal with this all at one time. Okay. Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I'm holy to the Lord. I'm the Lord your God. Keep my decrees and follow them. I am the Lord who makes you holy. Anyone who curses their father or mother is to be put to death, because they have cursed their father or mother. The blood will be on their own head. Okay. This is just one verse dealing with the relationship with the mother and father. You need to have respect for them, and definitely not curse them. And God is saying this is such a serious offense. If you curse your father and mother, you're to be put to death. Okay, that's a capital crime there. So God is very serious about this and keeping the family intact. And He's saying when it starts with you cursing your mother and father, we need to end this right now. And that's not excommunication, execution. All right, let's keep reading. Verse 10, if a man commits adultery with another man's wife, with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress are to be put to death. Both of them put to death, okay? You're going to find a lot, when we read this, you're going to be, oh man, that's really harsh, and yeah, it was harsh back then. So you didn't ever think of, like, you see your neighbor's wife, and hopefully you thought, I don't want to have sex with her, because if I get caught, I'm a dead man. Okay, I will be executed. So that tends to eliminate some of this sin that's happening. Verse 11, if a man has sexual relations with his father's wife, he has dishonored his father. Both the man and the woman are to be put to death, and their blood will be on their own heads. Okay, this actually happened with Jacob and one of his sons. Many years before all this, and the son thought, oh, my dad's never going to find out. Well, Jacob found out, okay, and at the end of his life, he says, I know good and well what you did, and because you did that, you're not blessed by me for that, okay. So again, this is all perverting the sexual relationship between a husband and wife, and when we pervert that, that's where disaster starts to happen. Okay, if a man has sexual relations with his daughter-in-law, both of them are to be put to death. What they have done is a perversion. Their blood will be on their own heads. Verse 13, if a man has sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, it is wicked. Both he and they must be burned in the fire, so that no wickedness will be among you. Okay, this was a different kinds of execution, pretty harsh to be burned up. But again, not messing around with the family. Verse 15, if a man has sexual relations with an animal, he is to be put to death, and you must kill the animal. Okay, and again, this is one of those sins you're going, oh, gross, that would never happen. I'm telling you, the day is going to come here when this country looks the other way and says, oh yeah, I mean, because you've allowed sex with everything else in every other way, why would it be wrong here? Okay. Verse 16, if a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries his sister, the daughter of either his father or his mother, and they have sexual relations, it is a disgrace. They are to be publicly removed from their people. He will be dishonored, and his sister will be held responsible. If a man has sexual relations with a woman during her monthly period, he has exposed the source of her flow, and she has also uncovered it. Both of them are to be cut off from their people. Okay, you do that, have sex during your period, you're to be excommunicated. Not killed, but just excommunicated. Verse 19, do not have sexual relations with a sister of either your mother or your father, for that would dishonor a close relative. Both of you will be held responsible. If a man has sexual relations with his aunt, he has dishonored his uncle. They will be held responsible. They will die childless. If a man marries his brother's wife, it is an act of impurity. He has dishonored his brother, and they will be childless. Okay? The one exception to it, verse 21, was the marriage that God actually really endorsed, which was that if you had an older brother, and let's say it was the oldest son, and he was married, and he died, and he didn't have any children to carry on his name, the next brother was supposed to marry that woman. Okay, and so that was an exception to this one verse here. Verse 22, keep all my decrees and laws and follow them, so that the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out. You must live according to the customs of the nations. You must not live according to the customs of the nations I am going to drive out before you, because they did all these things. Okay, I abhorred them. Apparently, this was all happening in the nations around him, and God said, this is why I don't want you doing this, and if you do it, you'll be either excommunicated or killed. All right. Verse 24, but I said to you, you will possess their land. I will give it to you as an inheritance, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God who has set you apart from the nations. Okay? So, wow. Not only do we have wind blowing today, but now we have lawnmowers going. Crazy life here in the studio. But anyway, so this is the breakdown of the family. When we allow this sin to happen like this, it will grow and grow. And so God is saying, putting a stop to it right here, and saying none of this is to happen. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense as we conclude the episode today. All this crazy stuff is a breakdown of the family, and God designed the family of Adam and Eve at the beginning of creation, and that's the way he wanted it to stay. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through Leviticus. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then. Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking